So this is love. Who knew this was love? Who knew that love meant, facing all of your shadows, all of your distortions, all of your problems? Who told you that this was love? Because love that's told in the fairy tales, in the movies, it's so perfect, right? It's so beautiful. But who said this was love? Who knew it was like this? And today I'm going to give you a time to do Q&A. I thought it was just going to be more of a chill day today, but I think I'm going to get through quite a lot. And I'm slightly tired because I went to sleep very late because I was talking to the retreat in Bali at like 2:30 in the morning because they are 7 hours ahead. So we're getting into a lot of things, okay? So one soul, many costumes, right? So from a very high level perspective, from God's perspective, you are everything, right? You are everything all at once. And then as you come further down and you come as a soul on earth, you're experiencing things from that perspective. However, you are still part of the whole. So let's give an example. Say we have this body here and we have all these fingers here, right? So you could say that's one soul, one soul, one soul, one soul, one soul, but they're all connected to the hand, right? Which can be the oversoul, and they're all connected to the arm. And eventually they're all connected to the brain and the body, which is God. So you are a fractal of all that is. So essentially, if you can get to that place, you are in a place of union, right? In a union. Right. So how has your week been? I'll answer questions after I've gone through a little bit of stuff I want to get through, and then sure, I'll answer them. But how's your week been? Because Mercury retrograde is done, thank God. If you had done your work, it would have been great and it would have been amazing for you, as it has been for me. And if you see the video on my profiles and the pinned video on Instagram and TikTok, where it's a man and a woman and it's in blue, and it's about my one-to-one sessions, in that you see what inner union's like. So if you've done the work, you're at that place where you're in 0 point, where you're in total alignment and peace and bliss and pureness. And you may be extremely busy like I am, but still you feel joy in everything. That's the place where you want to get to, okay? And you do get to it. And I used to think, oh, it's not possible, but you do. And you do manage to stay there. It's like a seesaw and you manage to balance. So then the cravings and the obsessions stop, essentially, okay? So this week for me, it's been amazing. I have been reporting and blocking people. It's kind of becoming quite addictive, a little bit fun, actually. And it's kind of like channeling my DM a little bit, like block, report, da da da. Because some people are silly, aren't they? Some people are silly and they feel like can they say what they want, um, or they say things against my followers and I don't like that. So if they follow me, I'll delete it. If they don't follow me, I'll just report and block, especially if they carry on. So you had some pesky people in their egos doing people's heads in, and I just like to press the report and block button. It's so satisfying. I don't know, it's just so amazing. And it's just because I want my platform to be a place of love. And you can challenge, but do so without ego, right? Anyway. So the other people, they can return with another profile, but come back with love, okay? And then there was some DM who claims to be a DM who was very triggered by me and saying, he used to follow me and now he don't. He's like, why does this profile always bash DMs? DMs are not like this. Either he's not a DM, he hasn't been activated, he hasn't met his DF, because when you do meet your DF, all the core wounds will be activated and you start acting like a dragon, like a monster. Some of you act like that anyway, but some of you start acting it after or more so. So, yeah, just let it be. But I don't think I always bash DMs. I think I try my best sometimes to balance it out. Um, and then I've had DFs this week as well. Oh, Manny, I've ascended. I'm a goddess. I'm in inner union. I am pure divine source essence. But I hate him. He's an asshole. He's sleeping with other women. He's dancing with other women. He's got pictures online, or he's this and he's that and he's this. But I'm perfect. I've done the work, Manny. I don't know, I shouldn't laugh, but I do find it funny. I know when you're going through it, it's very painful, and I know it is, okay? Um, I've gone through a lot, okay? I've seen it all, like way worse, I would say. But that doesn't mean to say I've had it worse than you and blah, blah, blah. It's just, it's better the devil you know. And if my DM was just like, taking pictures with random guys and stuff, and I would have been a lot more happier than seeing him fully naked doing whatever he was doing, right? So, okay. But you're not in a union. You're not. So if you remember the picture again, the pinned one, which is on my profile with the man and the woman, and they're just closing their eyes and it's like really beautiful music. They're in a place of so much peace and groundedness that nothing bothers them and they're not wavered. They're not wavered by anything, okay? So basically, if you're in that stage, you're not in a union. You still got work to do. Yes, sometimes, yeah, the DM has catching up to do, but it won't be to that level of distortion where they are running off with other people and showing it off and flaunting it, okay? They will get to a stage where they just go quiet and they start doing their inner reflection work, and that's when you know you've crossed the threshold. You have to cross the threshold. And I remember back in the day, I'm a bit of a vengeful bitch because I'm a Scorpio, but I used to be like, oh, I can't wait to bring his downfall and his ego, the bloody bastard. It's quite narcissistic, right? And so I used to just pray for the day because he used to be constantly trying to bash me. And you know what? I'm a beast of a person. I really am. And to bring me down, you needed a beast of a man. And I'll tell you, my twin flame is a beast of a man. And I'll give it as good as back, don't I? I give it as large back. So it depends on how you are, okay? So me and my twin properly went for it, but they do it first to you, and they do it unconsciously and consciously, and they don't know what they're doing, but it's for your betterment, and it is for your benefit, and it is mirroring everything. And a lot of these divine feminines, I'm not a slag, I'm not a slag, I'm not doing that. How can it be me? And you know what? I remember the days when I wanted to vent and let it go. But I never used to deny that it's not me. I used to, because these divine feminines are saying, how can I take him back after he's, you know, done this and made me look so bad in the public and whatever else, right? All ego, 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 ego. Right? Because at the end of the day, it's your soul and you made a contract to do these things and whatever's going on and you've got to accept it. And they do change. And you change too because you're distorted as well. But I used to say things like, "Oh, how can I take him back after all that he's done? I would never date someone like that, self-respecting person, spiritual person like me." Anyway, I laugh about it, but you do accept them, okay? And by the way, DM, if you're watching, come to Bali. Basically, it is the first stage where they're doing all their stuff to trigger you, to help you, to get you to go up and ascend, okay? And then the tables do turn, and then it becomes your turn to do your work, and then that triggers them and they go quiet. So you still have work to do and you haven't come to that stage, okay? Initially, this live was going to be called I'm Not Soulmate Universe. If you want to go to other pretend twin flame accounts for all that stuff, where they pretend twin flame content, they've Googled it, and then they're trying to put it into the mold, like, you know, oh, they're triggering you, and oh, and do your mirror work, and oh, love, 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 then go for that. But I'll tell you the real stuff, and some of you don't like it, and you hate it, and you are annoyed with me. But remember, I have the report and block button. Anyway, so, you know, these are the sort of accounts, right? They will say, if you have a desire for a twin flame, you can get them now. Now, listen, if I have a desire to be Madonna today, I ain't going to become Madonna. So it's about your soul contract with the divine, okay? So if you're meant to meet them, if you have one, you'll meet them. Let it be. Don't go looking for it. And meeting your twin flame is a baptism of fire. And you do end up acting like crazy buffoons, okay? Because you go back, you regress, you start acting like babies and toddlers and teenagers, and then finally you become adults and you both throw the toys at the pram. So it's not all lovey-dovey-dovey. So to the DM who no longer follows me and likes to pop in and out of the comments talking about how terrible and awful I am, go follow those other Soulmate Universe accounts. You know, you don't need to be coming on my channel. Right. And then, and I'm being a bit bitchy today, aren't I? But all right, it's okay, it's fine. I'm having fun. So, and I'm quite tired. So soulmates versus twin flames and karmic. Some of you get very confused about this. And I know someone wrote a comment, oh, the DM would never seek revenge. That's a karmic. My DM is a saint. Well, he's probably a soulmate, babes. But anyways, Rainbows and unicorns is not your twin flame journey. Okay, a lot of you get confused. Oh, why do we have to be in separation? Why can't we just heal together? Why can't we be in love and do things and skip down the street? Get a soulmate for that. That's lovey-dovey stuff, right? Twin flame is to burn all your karma, heal all your trauma and your lineage, and to stand in your power as a divine person on earth, doing your purpose and uplifting humanity. It's a different kettle of fish and a mission, okay? And some DFs do choose. I mean, there's famous coaches that some of you love that don't declare who they're with, but they're with soulmates, I believe. So you can choose that if you want. But if you choose the twin flame journey, it is burning all karma and being very ruthless in knowing where the mirror and the distortion is within you. So when I used to be like saying, oh, I would never take him back, but then I would be guided by a coach or a person I'm working with who would say, or where is it within you? And I would never deny it and say, I'd always will eventually accept it, that there's something in me, obviously. So be clear with yourself. So yeah, twin flames are it's a war against all distortion. That's what it is. And you will ascend. So with twin flames, you do ascend, okay? You'll have ego deaths. With a karmic, they will just deplete you and you'll be on the floor and you will be depressed. But with a twin flame, you'll become younger, more beautiful, more abundant. You'll become more in your power. You got to do the work though. You'll have all the ego deaths, the hieros gamos, the third energy field, the kundalini with your twin flame. Because I've had some people who are like, oh yeah, I had a kundalini and he was sleeping or whatever. It has to happen in the connection, because some people get spontaneous kundalini awakenings regardless whether they're with someone or not. So there's other things too. And someone was like, oh, so 11, loads of things. There's loads of signs, synchronicities. You see the 5D self, perhaps the telepathy, the dreams. The list is endless, and the universe will make sure that you are confirmed with that. So that's fine. Okay. And I saw on TikTok today that divine feminine must heal, ascend, and live in her God's purpose before the DM's life starts to crumble. So some of you today, I was chatting to some people are not doing their purpose. I don't know my purpose. I don't know what I am. Figure it out. Stop complaining about DM. Get busy in your life, Stop, that's how you get out of the obsession, by having something to live for and not just living for them. But you've got, it's a process, but some of you are stuck in a process and you stay looping and then you refuse to pay for help because you got all the answers inside and God helps you and God works through you. What about all your blind spots that you can't see? I would say that I'm quite an intelligent person, but I still have an ego and blind spots. And when I'm in a pickle, I'll pick up the phone and I'll book someone to help me. Always have done. I've never been afraid to pay for help because I need it sometimes, I'm not perfect at all. And I have an ego too, right? All right. So yes, back to the question of why twin flames separate. Why can't we heal together? Because you can't handle each other's distortions and lower energies, okay? So last week's, remember the one who was doing porn, the lady. Now that's fine. There's no judgment. Do what you want to do because you're clearing and purifying your lower chakra energy, right? But then don't get to that stage where you become like, oh, but why is he doing whatever he's doing? He will always mirror what you're doing because he's at where you're at. So if you're at that distortion level and detoxifying your lower chakras, then he'll be running his chakras elsewhere too, honey. He'll be using his lower chakras on others. So that's how it works, okay? So you can't heal together because twin flames, if they do, they might kill each other, okay? And it's really bad for the collective. It's horrifying enough to see them or hear them or feel them. That just gives you the irksome triggers and all that kind of stuff, let alone imagine being next to each other all the time. It's too much. You horrify each other with the distortions. You want him to return as a god, as a healed version, You have to let them get all their junk and crap out, okay? Because you have it too, and you can pretend that you don't, but when you meet and you're ignited fully on the journey, all the distortions start pouring out, and you try it. There's like holes everywhere, just pouring out. You try to put a finger on this one, a finger on that. You can't stop it. It will come out one way or the other. It's an itch you have to scratch. And the DMs, they do things that they just don't want to normally do, but they're doing it because they're purifying themselves, okay? And you're doing it too. And they do it physically, and they do it sexually, and they do it in other ways. But wouldn't you rather they be done with it and it be out of their system, all their distortions and their fantasies and issues and problems and traumas, rather than having that thrown on you, to my one, I would say, well done, you went for it. You went for it, boy. You went good and hard. I'm glad it's done. Now let's move on. Okay. End of. And then the last thing before I have someone's story, which I might read or might read next time because I know you've got questions and I want to talk about this other thing, but let's carry on. So then I have the question happen a few times this week. Manny, if you're so amazing and ascended and a master, why haven't you got your union yet? Because what it is a projection, isn't it? It's like, if you haven't got your union, then why should I worry about why is mine going to happen? It comes from personal insecurities on the person's part. It's the ice cream van. Their own insecurities where they are like trying to pick holes in themselves and me. So they have doubts, they have fears, and clearly they're not even at a stage of in a union or at a stage of peace within themselves, because it's all their projections and frustrations, and they're not realizing about divine timing. Because at the end of the day, the journey, like I've said, if you want to have love and you want to have it easy and rainbows and unicorns, go to Soulmate Universe and get a soulmate. Like, buy their packages or whatever. I don't know, do all that stuff, okay? But a twin flame ain't all that. A twin flame is about burning off your karma, okay? It's called flames. It's like demons and devils, all that out. So that takes a while, lifetimes, right? And you get to a stage where you are so busy living your purpose, your power, you're in your inner union, you're happy, you're blissful, and you don't even think about the DM, and you're just doing your own thing, and you're actually happy. You let them catch up in their own time because they've got their own stuff to do, and they're very in tune with where you're at. You may think you're ready, and you're not, so they won't return. And it's all perfectly divine timing and synchronistic. You know, don't be so fixated and worried about other people's stuff when you've got your own stuff to sort out, you know? And then when you do get yourself sorted, you will give everyone grace, because you'll be like, what is union anyway? I'm already in union. I'm happy, I'm joyful, and I'm unconditionally loving. And I understand that that person has this to work on and that person has that to work on. And my DM had a lot of distortions, right? So clearly you can't expect someone who's being completely destroyed in life to like ascend to a level so quickly. And I work hard, right? So I'm always like, it's hard to catch up with me. Perhaps he has a hard time. So that's that. All right, and I might read the story in a second. Right, another last bit I want to talk about is weaving. Okay, so weaving means that you're not in 0 point. Okay, they're coming in and out, because a lot of you get frustrated. Why isn't he not staying? He comes in and he comes out. Well, it's a lot for him too, and it's overwhelming. And if you're not centered and balanced, and you're pushing out on him, and he gets overwhelmed because he feels it very physically, then that's what happens, right? So you're reacting, you're expecting, you're judging, and he runs away. And the DMs won't return back necessarily perfect, okay? No one is perfect anyway. You have to come to terms to accept that we are all a mess, and we're doing our best. Obviously, violence and abuse, no, boundaries, but no one's going to be perfect, and they're not going to always know in the beginning what and how to do what they've got to do, and how you like to communicate and stuff. You've got to have grace, because often we forget that they have their journey too, and they have their way of being and living and loving, and what they have had to suppress and not be vulnerable, and how they're taught. And they're very different. They're like yin to the yang, right? Very opposite in the way in which they express themselves or don't express themselves, because their throat chakra is very blocked. Okay, now you could say that, oh, that means he's not loving me, he's not saying things or writing things or whatever. No, imagine you are gagged, but you want to say something, but you cannot. Like, you're so suppressed in expression of self and love due to abuse or lack of safety and feeling vulnerable. So their silence does not mean that they don't love you. Sometimes a person who is very silent is suppressing so much for you. Okay, so they will return often broken still, because you rise but he falls. Okay, that's what happens often. Okay, so basically you've got you here where you're at, and the DF will rise and his ego will break to go down, and then he comes up and follows you, right? And you're meant to help him. So he won't be a finished product, far from it. Also, DMs are silent. They don't always text or call. And the DF must learn to feel instead and trust that everything's working out. Because then what it is you are reliant on them again. You're not in a union, you're not maintaining in a union. Because in a union is a state that you have to maintain. It's not always there. So yeah, basically you have to just keep going within and trust in the process. Um, and that's why the reason for all the weaving is most DFs have unrealistic expectations and judgment from a fallen man. He's fallen, okay? So those are all those things. The experience of Twin Flame Journey I'll do if we have time. I'll talk about the Bali retreat and then I'll take questions. So we'll do the experience maybe later because I thought we didn't have much to do today, but clearly we've got a lot. Okay, so welcome to Basundarai Retreat Bali for Twin Flames in January. Now, I put a video up yesterday and I'm going to put even more every day and you'll see it's absolutely amazing. It's everything I wanted, actually. I looked through over 25 different retreat centers and spoke to them and I was nearly going to go insane and mad because I'm a bit of a perfectionist, right? Sometimes, not always, but like for others, I want them to have a good experience because I've went to retreat centers where I've paid $5,000 and there's been no air conditioning and no fans, but I've been all right with it, you know? But I know some people would be like, oh, Manny, I paid this much and there wasn't even a fan in the room. So I had to make sure everything was there facility wise so that people felt comfortable to do their healing. And it's important that you have those immunities, especially if you're paying for it. So I had to make sure. So I chose a place called Basundarai, lastminute.com. And it was kind of yesterday I chose it and then I put the dates out. But initially my shaman had said he was available the whole of January. And then when I told him the dates, he's like, oh no, I'm doing a course on these dates. And I was like, okay. And out of 11 people have signed up, okay? They haven't paid deposit yet, but I'm assuming I've only emailed them last night. So I'm assuming they will start paying. So it's going to be a first come, first serve basis. They've got 10 rooms because me and my shaman, we're going to be sharing a room, but there's 10 rooms for guests. Now, either you have the whole room to yourself, which is I would like for myself. Like that's what I like for guests. But you could also share a room and that will bring costs down. Okay, so we could have 10 or 20 people. So it is a first come first basis. Now, one of the people who signed up, because everyone else was okay for the dates, but one of the people, they wanted something on the weekend, like to come back to their country for some course they're doing. So I had arranged the dates, but apparently those dates weren't working for them that much. So we'll confirm it. But right now, I've put it down as 23rd to the 29th of January, but it might change to the 22nd, just a day before, till the 28th. But I'll confirm that in the next day or so. And I don't like changing dates, but sometimes things have to happen, okay? So basically, it's 7 days, so 6 nights, sacred healing, guidance professionally, cultural immersion, because we're going to be in a Balinese village, very quiet, peaceful place, right? Serene environment for deep transformation. So what do you get? You have to pay for your own flights and get all your own travel insurance or whatever else, but we'll get the whole resort to ourselves and it's beautiful. And I'll put loads more pictures up and videos up. It's amazing. Gorgeous retreat center. You'll get picked up and dropped off from the airport in Bali. The team's going to be there to support us. Everything runs smoothly. Like I said, there's 11 rooms, unique, but 10 for guests because me and the shaman have to use one. And you can either have it as double or for yourself. And they've all got ensuite bathrooms. They've all got fans. They've all got air conditioning. We have a yoga shala, which is where you can do all the activities and the work that we're going to do, which has all the blocks, mats, bolsters, straps, speakers, projector, and aerial yoga prints. We've also got a sauna and an ice bath for relaxation. And obviously all the swimming pools. There's a few of those. And then you'll get delicious daily breakfast to start your day. You'll also get snacks, cookies, homemade cookies, seasonal fruits, tea and coffee available throughout the day, organic lunch and dinner, Balinese coffee in the room, and complimentary coffee machines with beans in the common area. But then you get a lot of other things too, which like for a retreat, like I'm not charging you, like you might think 2,500 is a lot. Oh my God, Manny. But if you are in the retreat world and the retreat industry, all this stuff would be a lot more. Okay. So you're getting 15-minute head, shoulder, and foot massage upon arrival. Also a 60-minute traditional revitalizing Balinese massage. And just a side note, Bali's expensive. You think it's cheap. It's not. It's quite expensive. Then you're also going to get a Balinese welcome ceremony by a Balinese priest with symbolic offerings and traditional clothing and sprinkling of holy water. That's very beautiful. And then there's a tour. So we're going to do, it's probably going to be 10 hours, right, of seeing Ubud. Now, if you're going to come to the retreat, you can come a few days before or after. I'm there for a couple of months, right? So we can hang out. But definitely, I would say, like, if you can, come for a few days before and after so you can experience things, you know, and maybe I can show you around. But basically, we're going to go to the Tiratu temple for a sacred water purification ritual, okay, where we cleanse ourselves. And then we're going to go to the Tegalangalang Rice Terrace, the Monkey Forest, Tengyungan Waterfall, and the coffee plantation. So you get to see loads of different sites as well. So, and then, which normally you don't get at retreat centers, okay? And then you also get 6 hours of coaching with me, which normally costs £500. So you'll get coaching calls before, during, and after, and integration calls. There'll be daily yoga and meditation practices, and there'll be the shamanic healing as well, which includes loads of medicines. So you'll have cacao, rapé, sananga mushrooms, and mapachu. I'm thinking maybe there'll be some, if I can, arrange some like extras, which I might do if I can once I get there in October. So you might be surprised with some things, additional things that you wouldn't even expect. So the venue is all there. And if you're interested, the link's in the bio, sign up. Like I said, 11 people are already interested, and I've spoken to nearly all of them. There's, I think, 2 or 3 people that haven't checked their email or message yet. So please do so. Maybe you gave the wrong details. Get in touch, because I have emailed and messaged everybody. So those 3 people that I'm missing, I think it's 2 or 3 people, check it, because it is first come, first serve. Okay. And I'm asking for deposits this week of £500, and it's non-refundable. Okay. But we're going to go ahead with it, and it's going to be perfect. So all the information is there. You can reach out to me, and you can pay by PayPal or bank. So that's that. If we have time, I'll talk about this person's beautiful experience. But in the meantime, let's go through some questions. Okay, let's do it. Right. Hey, everyone for joining. Thank you for your time. How do you stop craving? So the craving and the obsession has to be emptied out of your system, and it will go away faster with inner work, with purpose, with alignment, with healing, and just loving yourself. Love your inner child. It will get better. It's a process. Perfect. Any other questions? Loads of funny stuff. Energy is a bit low these days. Bless you. Take time. Listen to your body. If your body needs this and that or rest, you do it, okay? Do whatever feels right for you. Do we also mirror the DM? Yes, you do. Of course, you're divine mirrors for each other. You do. That's why they run, because you show them all their inadequacies. All right. Any more questions? Otherwise, I'm going to read you a lovely story. That silence, what it means. The silence just means they're processing. That's how a lot of men, they go in their caves to like process, and it's a lot for them to deal with. They get over sensory load. So they basically want to get to that place. Never been before. I've never been to Bali either. It's supposed to be the island of the gods. Amazing. Okay. Yes, I hear inner union all the time, and honestly, I don't get it. Watch the pinned video on my profile. You are a gift, Manny. I think we're all a gift, aren't we? This is spot on. Is inner union what Carl Jung talks about, animus and anima and shadow integration? I would say so, yes, in a sense, but I don't know how far and deep he goes with it, because it is quite a spiritual experience. But it is the integration of the shadow, where you're not reacting from it and you accept it all. You accept it, and you're, in accepting it and not reacting from it, you actually it stops having a hold on you, and you rise. Okay, any other questions? Good. I love it when there's no questions. It means that you are all clued up and you know what's going on, and you're actually good. Right. So let's talk about someone's experience, and then we can see if there's any more questions and then finish off. So a beautiful follower and a client actually wrote this story about their experience. It's called My Experience of the Twin Flame Journey, a Path of Remembrance. And I think it's very important for us to honor people's stories, because at the end of the day, we're all one soul. We're all one of each other, right? We're all a soul family. And in honoring this person's interaction and growth and meeting their twin flame and igniting themselves to ascend, it's beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, so let's go. A Path of Remembrance. My life changed irrevocably on the 5th of July, 2022. I had no idea what was going on, what was ahead of me, and the deeply transformative process that was about to unfold. So I stumbled into a salsa club after I was having an awful day, underpinned by the constant feelings of anxiety, upset, lack, and frustration at not being able to fall pregnant. I was convinced that was the only thing that was missing in my life, and that I would not be happy or be complete without a child. However, this was the latest episode of years of fear-based programming, which had led me to this moment. I was drowning in a life which didn't feel like it was fulfilling me. I felt restless, depressed, and hopeless. That's when I met him. When our eyes met, I knew something had just happened. My soul was crying out, "Who are you? Why have I met you? You feel so familiar to me. It's like you are me. Are you my most compatible partner? Are you the person I should have waited for to marry? Have I made a massive mistake?" That's when the chasing started. After convincing myself that I would never chase a man because I knew my worth, I chased and I chased and I chased. Even though I knew there was no logical reason for chasing, there was no explanation for this depth of feeling for someone I barely knew. No one would understand. I tried my best to downplay the emotional reaction I was having to him, but I was well and truly obsessed. I wanted to merge with him more than anything. I knew this person held a grander purpose in my life. I didn't understand what it was and why I met him now. Logically, I was terrified. I knew that a relationship with this person was very unlikely to unfold in the way I would want, but I couldn't explain why I was drawn to him. Like a moth to a flame, I only wanted to be close to him. I also couldn't understand why I would tear up a life which was not that bad, set fire to my marriage to a good man in order to chase this person. It made no sense, whatever. So again, to the title, who knew this was love? Who knew this was love? Okay. However, every time I tried to ignore, rationalize, and refocus on maintaining my current life, I was thwarted at every step. I couldn't sleep. I was depressed. My hair started falling out, and I had gut issues. I felt like my body was slowly falling apart, and my mind was fracturing. And I couldn't get this person out of my head. He was my first thought in the morning and my last thought at night. And he would follow me around as a shadow in my mind the whole day. Slowly, but surely, my marriage started to fall apart. I had no idea. Well, surely my marriage fell apart. I had no idea how to connect with my husband anymore. His touch and presence felt off. This was probably the most distressing part. Knowing that someone who felt like they were your person, your anchor and home in this lifetime suddenly doesn't feel right anymore. Many of you will resonate. Also knowing, as much as you would want to, there is no way of rewinding back to that. After coaching, marriage, counseling, and individual therapy, I made the difficult decision to leave my husband. This was not a decision I made lightly. It was well and truly brutal. I still loved my husband and I grieved the life I thought I was going to build with him, but staying with him felt like a disservice to both of us. Our loving relationship would unravel. We would end up resenting each other. It wasn't right anymore. It felt like the most loving thing to do was to leave him, even though it was one of the most unbelievably painful experiences of my life. I still hoped for a romantic relationship with my twin, although I didn't know him as that, because I still believed that must be the reason for meeting him. However, as soon as I freed myself from my relationship, he jumped into another relationship and has been there ever since. Her twin, okay? He went off with someone else. The irony of this situation was not lost on me. I felt completely abandoned and discarded. So in that situation, what's happened is she's left her husband, and that has triggered her twin as being too much because now she's available and it would be too much. Had she stayed with her husband, her twin perhaps wouldn't, maybe, depends on the whatever's divinely guided, would probably not go with someone else. I couldn't understand why the universe would do this to me, dangle a carrot in front of me, make me arrange my life, and then take it away at the last moment. Perhaps she did it for the reasons for being with the twin rather than being with herself, with God, and ascending. It didn't make any sense, but the timing of it was too perfect, too orchestrated. That's why I knew something bigger than I could understand was happening. My life from this point would have a trajectory of its own. For many months, I still obsessed, begged, cried for the separation to end. How could you leave me, I thought, when I know you also feel for me what I feel for you? This is where it's important, right? Because we as DFs think that they are exactly like us, but they internalize, rationalize, and react to everything in a different way, okay? For them, it's overwhelming. For them, it's too triggering. For them, it's their vulnerabilities being exposed. They felt unworthy. It's like the opposite reaction. For us, it's like, yes, baby, come. And for them, it's like, run the other way. Okay. It's too much. Okay. That's why it's very important to be very chill, relaxed, balanced, and don't be too much towards them. Then they feel comfortable and safe. Okay. And as long as you feel good in yourself and relaxed and balanced and safe, they feel their nervous system also starts to relax around you. I've made videos before saying that I'll treat them like a rescue animal or a child, and some of you laughed and thought, what the hell, he's gone crazy, especially when I was making the videos in my pajamas in the middle of the night. But they're very traumatized and they're very triggered, and the energy is too much, and they're in the physical world. And so for them, the less obsessive and less crazy we can be, the better. The more chill, the better it's for them. And that's what the healing helps with, okay? Don't you know what I've gone through to get myself to this point? How could life be so cruel? How could you leave me, I thought. I knew you also feel for me what I feel for you. It was only then I was introduced to the twin flame journey. Not a moment too soon, and totally by accident. I happened to come across some of the accounts of twin flames. Initially, I thought it was complete rubbish, another nonsensical label to justify toxic relationship dynamics. A lot of people who are not twins do have that notion, right? I think this person's quite logical herself, so that's why it was probably difficult. However, I started looking into it and I realized that if it was this journey of spiritual ascension, that was when I knew this was happening to me. So far, I have been following my internal guiding compass and intuition, but accounts of this journey helped it all fall into place. Although I've never really received number signs, I found my twin's name everywhere and was also surrounded and visited by animals. I had souls around me guiding me forward. I now know that I was not alone in this, although at the time it felt supremely isolating experience that no one would understand. After some triggering experiences with my twin, I slowly learned to maintain inner balance, inner harmony. I started to meditate daily, a practice which before, nearly done, this journey would have felt totally out of reach. Meditation started to become the most blissful aspect of the day. One day when I was in meditation, I realized the truth of what this journey really is. My twin flame reflected God to me. That's why I chased him obsessively. My soul was remembering God, source, unity consciousness, and all that is. My twin is God incarnate because I am God incarnate. You know, when I always say that you are gods and goddesses, you are connected like the fingertips to the whole, and you're just remembering that again. And you are all your guides and angels and higher self and all that. It's all you. It's just you're just a fragment of it, okay? You're a fingerprint of the whole hand. So she understood that she's God incarnate, which is what you're going to do. That is why you want to merge. That is why you feel this deep unconditional love that makes no sense. It's God's love for you and your oneness with God that you feel through this dynamic. When you look in your twin's eyes, you see God. You are looking at God straight in the face. Now for DFs, that's lovely, right? And it's great because we just want that. But for the DMs, it's scary because they feel exposed. They've all seen all their shadows that they haven't. They've been hiding, suppressing. Whereas for us, it's like home, you know? Whereas them, it's like hell. Okay. It's God's love for you and your oneness with God that you feel in this dynamic. When you look in your twin's eyes, you see God. You're looking God straight in the face. God meets you through your twin because this is how he can reach you. Your life imploding, your awakening, your shedding of egoic layers are there to facilitate this realization of who you truly are. That is, you and God are one. This beautiful journey was never about a romantic relationship. It's about your soul remembering its true home. What's interesting is I hadn't read that for a long time because it's been sitting there for a few months. And today I didn't know what to do the topic on. And then I come up with some random stuff that I just brought in live and it all clicked together. After I had my haircut today, I was like, what should I call it today? I was going to call it I Am Not Soulmate Universe. But it all clicked together because it just tells you what the journey's about. Now, let me see if there's any questions. Hey, from Finland. Welcome, welcome. Oh my God, I find numbers and his name everywhere. I couldn't figure it out why it was happening. Yes. And it's strange for some DFs, right? Even though DFs usually are more open. And imagine the DM. All of a sudden, you're hearing things, seeing things. They feel like their privacy is invaded, like someone's in their head. It freaks them out, you know, and you freak them out because it's you. And why are you there? And they can't figure it out. That's why they run. Okay. Yes, but then it makes me feel like I'm not me. Why can't I just react naturally? Why I have to control my feelings? Well, what is your natural state? Your natural state is divine, blissful, connected to God, pure source energy, in a place of being a god, a goddess. That's your natural state. Your current state, a lot of people's current state, I don't know, I'm not judging, I don't know what your current state is. Most people's state is distorted. They're reacting out of trauma, out of toxicity, out of drama. Drama is karma. Twin is teaching you to become your true self. Agreed. When I'm chill, we are chill. I would call them that. Why wouldn't you call them? Wouldn't you call them avoidance? Well, yes. Call them whatever you want. God incarnate on earth to trigger you better. All right. What else? What else? What else? It's all ridiculous at the end of the day, and it's all beautiful. And we just get to a place eventually where you just appreciate it and you understand it all and it's perfect. You love them and they taught you how to be in your divinity. Okay? I sent a question in the question box. I can make it again here. Yes, please. I don't know where the question box is, so please tell me. Right. Yes, they definitely get signs just like we do. Mine even accused me of doing witchcraft, witchery stuff behind the scenes. Yeah. Very scares them, doesn't it? So if there's any other questions, please let me know. Ancestral translator, you had a question, but I don't know what it is. So if you can type it, great. Otherwise, I'm going to end up now, and I'm going to talk about the retreat as a final, and I'm going to put a video up after this, really cool one, about the priest doing a ceremony at the retreat, okay? So basically, Basundrai retreat will happen in January, most likely the 23rd to the 29th, or the 22nd to the 28th. That might be a little date switch, but I'll confirm that in the next day. And it includes everything, and it's amazing. And you can do a payment plan, so you can pay in installments if you're working towards that. But there's a lot of people interested. It's 500 deposit, non-refundable, and you get everything included in it. So many different things. You get to see Bali, you get picked up food, there's sauna spa, and you're going to be between flames, and everything's there. It's just amazing, okay? So if there's no other questions, let's have a look. All right. Mine have never said it. They don't say anything, but they experience. They're going through it too, but they just scared of it. My twin is experiencing physical illness before or after. My twin is experiencing physical illness before or after any of our reunions. Yes, so it's purging, the body is clearing itself. Usually if someone rejects their twin flame, they suffer, they get illness, or they get bombarded, life falls apart. But it's just healing happening. It's just the healing. The body is purging all the toxins, okay? You purge them. It's very intense. I feel like I can connect us as anxious and avoidant relationships the way it's going. Well, whatever works for you. That will keep you boxed as well, carry on thinking of them that way. Think of them as healed. Flu symptoms, gut issues. So gut issues, emotions, flu is like purging all that stuff, so it's normal. All right. Last question. Not sure if you saw my question before, but what is meant by achieving inner union, and what does that look like? Thank you, and so grateful. I explained that already. So I've talked about that pinned video on my profile, right, with the man and the woman. That's inner union. That's what it feels like when they're both like this. It's like beautiful music and the hair is flowing. When you feel a state of peace and bliss, I call it bliss state. All the time, you feel joy, you feel oneness. You're in the now, in 0 point. You're happy. You're in love, unconditional, forgiving. You're not triggered by much or anything really, and you're living your life. Purpose. You're just having the best time. Okay. All right. Wonderful. So that was that. Who knew this was love? Right? Who knew this was the shit we were getting ourselves into? But we got into it, and now we make the best of it, and we thrive and survive and live. Okay? So I appreciate your time. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. Have a great week starting tomorrow. Keep doing your work and keep getting into your power and be kind. and your DM. Take care. See you later.